Yo, what's good? It's Mastermind MMA. Let me make sure things going. All right, I think we're good. All right, 100%. We're set. All right, so what's good is Mastermind MMA, and this is going to be my live reaction post fight to Uriah Faber knocking out Ricky Simone, first and foremost. But we got the Jermaine Durandamy controversial knockout, which I'm going to get into. We got some fights. We got Emmett knocking out Mirsad Bektik. So what's good, everyone in here? I'm just gonna start off at the top from Durandamy. So with the Durandamy knockout, I get the controversy. So I get that when Herb Dean stepped in, she was still getting the feet on the hips, scooting around, and she was getting like kind of picking at the ankle, trying to like get and be smart defensively. But what I noticed when the fight first started, I was like, all right, listen, what's her face? Aspen Ladd, she kept moving her head like this. Like she kept moving her head like in the same area, like within this vicinity. That was her head movement. It wasn't anything going like over this way, over here. It wasn't taking the head movement here, here, here. So when I saw that, I was like, I immediately noticed, right? Her head movement is going like this and then resetting. And then it's staying here and resetting. And I saw Durandamy, the first punch he threw, it went like right in that range. So immediately when I saw that, I was like, Jermaine Durandamy, she already picked up on that read. And because you got to think, she's like an elite level kickboxer and striker. So when I saw that, I was like, all right, she already picked up on it. Because if I picked up on this shit, she definitely picked up on this shit. So I immediately saw that she kept going in the same place. And then I was like, yo, she's going to get knocked out. And then pretty much like real quick after I thought that, she got dropped and then the stoppage happened. So I think with that, like, I think that kind of what I was reading in the fight played into where I didn't think it was that big of a deal, because I honestly felt like the way Aspen Ladd was coming, that shit was going to happen regardless. I feel like Durant, like Aspen Ladd, like her ground and pound is next level, right? Her when she gets you on the ground and she gets top position and she starts raining ground and pound, she's at an extremely high level when it comes to that. But when it comes to striking, she still needs to do a lot of work when it comes to it. And I feel like even when you saw in the Eubanks fight that Sajara Eubanks was getting a lot on the ground and she was getting a lot off on the ground, but then Eubanks was getting off a lot on the feet, but then as soon as Ladd got to the ground, she was getting off her shit. So I felt like it was going to happen either way. Now let's go to Urijah Faber. Fucking young Faber, 40 years old, knocking out Ricky Simone in like 46 seconds. I thought that was pretty impressive, to be quite honest with you, because when I saw Ricky Simone land like this left hook. And when Ricky Simone landed that left hook, I saw, yeah, what's good, my guy, Mr. S.A. Brown Loco? Yeah, he definitely did good. And I feel like when Faber got hit by that left hook, you saw him start backing up, and I felt like, oh shit, he got rocked by that. And then after that, fucking Ricky Simone went for that flying knee and missed, and I was like, oh shit. So I kind of thought like, oh shit, that like after I saw Faber get clipped, I'm like, all right, this is not looking that great for Faber. I kind of felt like it was going to the direction of him getting knocked out. But I noticed off rip, like initially Faber was coming in and he was getting like doing that pretty much like he had that wide stance. Like it was like a combination of like a Henry Cejudo kind of width of the stance, and his hands weren't like really doing much like feinting. He just kind of had them there, but it was like establishing that distance, and like it kind of made his leg more kickable. But I feel like that was something that like I feel like he was just kind of really playing that level change game of you don't know if I'm going in to shoot or where I'm going to strike. And I felt like he was baiting him. And then when I saw him duck off the center line and wing that like DC type overhand right, I'm like, all right, so he's baiting him to level change and hit him with the overhand right. So when Faber actually did get the knockout, I saw Ricky Simone, he was going for that straight, the straight 1-2. So Ricky Simone was ducking in for that 1-2, and Faber perfectly, with like the way he was drilling it, got his head right off of the center line. Like literally, if Faber kept his head on the center line, Ricky Simone would have landed a short straight before Faber landed his shit. But because Faber got his head all the way off to the left, like Faber got his head all the way off to here, and then boom, got Ricky Simone right in the face. So Ricky Simone shit would be, Faber was here and Ricky Simone punch would be coming here, but because Faber got all the way off of here and he got the overhand right, because Simone was planting and he was leaning all the way in, and that's how Faber got him right on the temple, and just right boom, and right, those temple shots just takes your legs out, right? So that's why you saw Simone drop to the floor, and Urijah Faber, the fucking consummate professional, doing his thing, knowing how to finish his opponent. And it's something interesting because I forgot the dude he fought like back in December when McGregor Aldo, Frankie Saenz, when Faber fought Frankie Saenz, and he was just like emptied the gas tank going for the finish, and he didn't get it, and then he was gassed, and it was kind of like at the end of that, it was like, oh, I like gassed out going for the finish. But it showed that Faber was a lot more calculated in his finishing ability. And interesting enough, it was his first finish in his UFC career, like his first knockout TKO since like 2007. So I feel like the time away from Faber, and if you remember, or if I remember correctly, fucking, I think his last fight when he retired was his knockout of Brad Pickett. So I think he lost to Rivera and then took the Pickett fight. So he ended his career on a good note. And when he came back in, and like when it like he seemed comfortable, but it seemed like, it was kind of odd when I saw like his whole stance and everything. But when you see in retrospect the way the fight played out, it was the whole level change to duck off on that overhand right. So it was strategic, and it was good. You know what I mean? It like Faber, it shows that now he got a lot more like tactical in his approach, because it kind of feels like before it was more of just like when you got someone rocked, empty the gas tank regardless and kind of get wild and reckless with it. But now it felt like he was like getting better positions and get in dominant positions and do sweeps and transitions, and then get off your shots and like select where you want to get your shots off, as opposed to before, like say he dropped him and then like he's like on his back, then you just like plow into, you just drop a shot and then you're in their guard and then they start controlling you. But what he did was, I don't remember the exact sequence of things, but he just did good. He was like he like went over to the side, like swept the legs, and then even like he used Simone's momentum for a sweep to get over the legs. He kind of rode his legs to get in the momentum into a dominant position and get the finish. So really good on Faber, man. Cejudo called him out in Cejudo's last fight. And Cejudo called him out in the last fight. He called out Garbrandt, Cruz, and Faber because he knew Faber was coming back. And honestly, this really sets Faber up in a pocket where he really could get a title shot, and he really could jump the queue. Because when you look at the status of the bantamweight division, we got my guy Dominic Cruz. We don't know when he's coming back. We got Cody Garbrandt. He's got to work his way back up. TJ Dillashaw is out. Moraes just got finished by Cejudo. So it was really like we really just kind of got Petrion and Aljo Sterling kind of rising up to the ranks. But I mean, it's like Randamie and Aspen Ladd were the main event. Yeah, I get that. But you saw Sacramento. Urijah Faber sold that bitch the fuck out. I saw that and I was like, holy fucking shit. And like it's not like it's something when you see someone in their hometown and it like has that stardom feel, like when we had Miocic versus Overeem and it was in Ohio, and in the end where Stipe is like, oh yo, and you heard the whole crowd go crazy. But like when they were cutting to these shots, like the whole wide, like the wide shots, and you saw the crowd and everyone going crazy, you're like, holy fucking shit, dude. Urijah Faber still got drawing power. And the fact of the matter is, Urijah Faber still is right in that pocket where he could really use his momentum and everything. Because right now he just jumped in and has ultimate momentum. and he already got called out, so the thing already got set up. And also, the people that he's promoting aren't even in it, like the Cody Garbrandts and the other alpha male guys. They're not even in the picture right now. So he really can, like, when you look at Bisping's reign, his title reign, when you look at when he won off Luke Rockhold, so basically he did the company a favor and took a fight on short notice, a fight that to a guy he already lost, and on paper he's supposed to lose to, knocks him out. And we knew Bisping was on the tail end of his career, and he's like, listen, I just got one guy back, got one fight back that I wasn't supposed to get. Now I want to get the Henderson fight back because he knocked me out brutally. So it was kind of Bisping where he's like, all right, I called the shots and all you motherfuckers are on steroids, so I want to get this steroid shit back. And even he was kind of like lining up the Vitor fight. So when Bisping had that title, because of what he's done for the company and the fact of his fan base and the country behind him and the whole like UK London scene that he pretty much ran in as a pioneer in, so they're like, all right, you got that. So Urijah Faber in that same way has the leverage of the lighter weight classes. Like, keep in mind, this is a man that really built the brand of WEC and really had the lighter guys on the map. And he really fucking he really did a lot of work and really was like a big reason of showing he was a big proof of concept in showing that the lighter guys can sell fights. And I think it was the Dominic Cruz versus Urijah Faber second fight where they were headlining, and I think it was the first time lighter guys were headlining a pay-per-view, if my memory serves me right. And it was a great fight. And I remember Dana and everyone said, like, Dana, like, see, everyone was saying, oh, little guys can't put on fights, but look at this shit that just happened tonight. And little do we know, man, like it like when you look at the great history of all the great lighter weight classes and the lighter weight fights, even people that don't like Faber at the times they didn't can acknowledge that. Like, even when Cruz, like, even when they're in the heat of the beef, Cruz was still like, listen, Urijah Faber's done a lot for the sport and carried the WEC on the back. And honestly, a lot of the brunt of, like, really the genesis of the beef between Dominic Cruz and Urijah Faber was the fact that they were fighting. Urijah was the guy that was really moving the needle, and they didn't even put Dom on the poster. So it really shows that, like, how far the whole thing has come, and Urijah Faber being at the beginning of it and being a pioneer of the whole thing. So I feel like him coming out of retirement at 40, getting a first round knockout in the way that he did, that really speaks statements and volumes, because it's all about moments, right? And what have you done for me recently? Now, we just had that crazy knockout last week of Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal, right? And nothing can get crazier than that, right? But the fact of the matter is, we don't know when Usman's going to be good. So say something fucking happens crazier between then and now, like, just hypothetically speaking, let's say like another fight down the line, let's say Usman's good in fucking like December to fight, and Lawler gets a fucking cartwheel kick knockout of Colby Covington in like 2 seconds, something wild and unimaginable. Now, or not even that thing, say he gets a flying knee knockout in 10 seconds. Let me frame it differently. Let's say Robbie Lawler gets a flying knee knockout in 10 seconds. It's more of a what have you done for me now more recently, and the whole thing of, oh, Robbie's more good with Dana, and Robbie, they've already done business with Robbie as champion, so they could put him in those positions. And I feel like Faber is one of those guys right now that they've always been pushing him to that. They've always wanted him to be the guy to carry those pay-per-views of the lighter weight classes. And if you remember, he was supposed to step in and fight McGregor. He was in that running for that. But anyway, on the technical side of things, man, I feel like he did good of setting up the whole game plan and really catching him. But I feel like if we have to see how the fight plays out to see really where he's at and how he is in his comeback career. Because honestly, this is a super, super impressive thing. It's everything getting right back. And it's really tricky because you don't know, where does Faber go from here? Does he fight another contender and risk, kind of losing the spot and the momentum he has now? And kind of like, and keep in mind, like, when fighters like Faber, the moment they lose, it's going to be like, oh, maybe they should retire, or shouldn't they can't come out. So I feel like the moment where what he needs to do is really dependent on Cejudo's timeline. And honestly, because it's a thing where if you don't do anything, you're going to get forgotten with the what have you done for me lately type mindset. And there's other top contenders. But I feel like if he just keeps leveraging, maybe even social media wise, just like start shit with Cejudo, not exactly start shit, like be a shit talker for shit talking sake, but really start a competitive back and forth Henry's going to be on the cringe shit, and then like that's going to get talked about, and then you could have a whole thing. But I feel like Durand. All right, back to the main event with Randamie. I feel like, you know, I feel like she's gonna get it, but I feel like she's one of those people where it's just like I don't know what you could really do with her besides her fighting for a paycheck. I feel like the fight after Holly Holm and the fact that she never fought Cyborg and that whole debacle and the shots after the bell, I feel like that was a really staining, just bad, like black spot on her career because she got ridiculed by that, and like it seemed sketch. It really seemed kind of like, I personally thought those shots after the bell were on purpose and dirty, and I really kind of viewed her differently after that. And that really takes away from her skill set. And it really the rematch might happen between Ladd and Randamie. You're saying, Mr. S.A. Brown? I mean that I don't even, like, me personally, I wouldn't even want to see the rematch between Ladd and Randamie because I feel like the rematch with Holly. I don't know. I don't want to, like, that doesn't really interest me that much either, really, because I feel like Holly's at a point where you don't know where she's kind of like almost gatekeeper status about to be, and Randamie, although she might have that skill, even if she does get the belt, it's not going to work. I don't really see her being able to turn the corner. And yeah, I kind of feel like I haven't even thought about what Holly should do from after that knockout. I don't really see much of a map, but she could always be tossed in there. But with Jermaine Durandamy, I feel like she can't, like, she could win fights. She's better than these people, but I just feel like, even you see, like, the stoppage wasn't her fault at all, but just people don't like her because of that shit. And it's like she's not leaning into it. She's not trying to, like, play into it, and like she's not doing the Dillashaw. For honestly, what Randamie needs to do is do what Dillashaw did with the whole snake shit and just 100% lean into it. Like with things like that, and when the crowd and the people are against you, if you don't lean into it, if you try to be like the nice lady and all that, like it's not really gonna play well because it's gonna look like you're seeking their approval. And what's good, my guy? Let Nunes knock her head to the moon, but wouldn't it be so terrible if she KO'd Amanda? Yeah, dude, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, if she were to knock out Amanda Nunes, I don't even think she would really get that respect that she deserves, just because it's like the whole thing is just tainted. Like, it's even worse than when, like, it's almost like even kind of worse than getting popped by USADA, because like her thing was like dirty technique. Like, I honestly kind of like lost respect for Eddie Alvarez after the Poirier fight and shit like that, because it just kind of showed something about, like, it just showed that, like, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna break the rules type shit. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to, like, get ahead, even if it's illegal. And I just truly don't respect that shit at all, especially when it comes to combat sports, or even just fighting in general, because I feel like people that would do that are the same type of people that would just, like, when you're in an argument, go all up in your face and then like sucker punch you when they're like an inch away from your face. And I just think like people like that are fucking bitches, and I don't respect it at all. So I feel like that it kind of shows shades of that, just like dirtiness in combat, because it's like I feel like personally it shows like a lack of confidence in your own skill set, that you're like, oh, I need to just like get the first one off regardless, or I need to do whatever it gets to take an edge, because you feel like you're not better on a level playing field. And I feel like that, well, to me personally, that's how it kind of really painted that brush for me with Randamie after that Holly fight. Because when you look like a fight like Kelvin and Izzy, right, the way they went after it, the way that they got taken to like that precipice of where you need everything within your heart, mind, and soul to pull you and get you through that shit. Honestly, at that point, like at that brink where they're just like, bro, like, I feel like I'm about to fucking die and I'm willing to die. It feels like kind of like at that point, the way that they still fought, the way that they fought, and just were within the rules of mixed martial arts. They weren't trying to go for dirty shit, not even like fence grabbing or anything like that, or not even just trying to do any weird like quote unquote veteran techniques that someone like Eddie Alvarez might pick up. Like kind of gouging the eyes when you're kind of like ground and pound, like trying to block their air passage and shit like that, just like sketchy shit. and they could have easily tried to at least send it for that at that point, and they didn't. And I feel like that earns a higher respect because that almost shows like a combat morality to me, that they have integrity, like and as who they are as in a person, but especially like it's a raw form of when you're fighting of who you are as a person. So it shows that, and I feel like that's what the Randamie showed in the Holly fight, of like that sketchy side of being a person. And I just don't think like, and then she like ran from Cyborg, so it's almost like you took your ball and went home. Like it's like you sucker punch a kid, stole his ball and went home. So I feel like that's always what she's going to be painted with, despite her massive striking background and her skill set. But I think, yeah, man. Oh, fucking Josh Emmett, dude. That motherfucker throws bombs all day long, dude. Fucking coming off of the knockout win over Michael Johnson. Now, me and my boy, we have a joke that Michael Johnson is the welterweight champion of the world, because all the videos that come out of Henry Hoof's camp, fucking, it's always Michael Johnson clipping up Kamaru Usman for like years, even before Usman was even known. Like there's videos of them going hard, like too hard they had to be separated, and fucking they got but Johnson was getting the better of him. Johnson was the only person to beat Tony Ferguson. Johnson was the only person to knock out Poirier before Poirier went on this, like, Poirier's last loss, I believe, was to Michael Johnson by knockout before he went on this crazy fucking run. Because it kind of like when he came up to lightweight, like the whole spark of Poirier really blasting off was that 199 Bobby Green fight, which kicked off the main card. Was it the main card? But yeah, I think so. It just kicked off that card to such an incredible way. I remember how fun that fucking 199 fight card was. But yeah, dude. So fucking Michael Johnson is an amazing fighter, and for Josh Emmett to have a knockout win over him in that type of fashion, that's like super fucking incredible. And to come back and to do something like that to a guy like Mirsad Bektic, it's like, dude, he's got bombs. You know what I mean? Like he's one of those heavy fucking hitters. I mean, before, in the fight, he got knocked out by Jeremy Stevens brutally. He dropped Jeremy. So, like, dude, it shows that he's one of those people that are fucking, like, he's got that. And the thing is, it's really in his hooks. And I noticed that. And it's just kind of like the way that he's built. Like, just like, I feel like just like that kind of like broad stockiness. It's just like that kind of torque in the movement. I feel like it's just a very snapping torque in that, like that twisting motion that just really fucking, and his timing. I feel like it takes him a while, and he throws it a lot. It's kind of like one of those things, like when you're hitting like a combination that you hit pads and you just keep doing it, and it's like da 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 da, and like you have beats where he's kind of like openly flowing, but and then he goes for the da 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 always, and it's like a lot of times it misses, but like the one time it hits, it's a fucking bomb. So it really doesn't matter all those times you missed and like kind of gas yourself, as long as it just takes that one time. So it's like that constant drilling and that constant searching for it. More you throw it, like the more probability it has landing. And it's like it became like he's been more efficient. And I feel like after that Lamas fight, I feel like because he broke his orbital bone and like basically broke his face when the Jeremy Stevens fight, I feel like that kind of like almost deaded a little momentum, because like when you think about it, after the Lamas fight, he was like really on the come up. You know what I mean? That loss, like especially with the injury, really put him back. And I feel like right now with the Johnson fight and this, it's kind of like, all right, now it's kind of like when people have that kind of momentum that they build, and then they like, there's a lot of hype, like they build the hype behind them, and then they lose, and then you're like, oh shit, was that it? Like, is their run done? But like to parallel it, someone like Francis Ngannou, when he had that crazy momentum loss to Stipe and had that Lewis fight, and now he started building it back up on knocking on the door of a title shot. So now I feel like it's Emmett kind of picking right back up, and I feel like because of the way he performed in that Jeremy Stevens fight, he held his own, and I feel like it doesn't hurt his stock too much, especially when you're fighting a killer like fucking Jeremy. So I feel like now the Johnson fight, even though it's at featherweight, Johnson, I don't know how tough of a cut it was, but it really shows like a high level of credibility for him now, the names that he's kind of racking up. Bektic is a good, tough guy. I think his most memorable fight, Mirsad Bektic's most notable fight, I mean, is the Darren Elkins fight, where Bektic was winning the fight for a majority and Elkins pulled that Hail Mary knockout. And so Emmett could really just another win against a top 5 guy, and you're right in the title picture again. You got a Volkanovski kind of just sitting waiting for his shot, and I feel like after if the UFC is gonna stay true to the rankings and who's deserving it, I feel like the winner of Max Frankie. Of course, if Max wins, it's Volkanovski. If Frankie wins, I feel like they should probably do the rematch. But Volkanovski's really up next in that mix, and I feel like it really matters where how shit plays out. And there's so many fucking variables, and like it really fucking sucks because if you're not staying active and actively doing memorable shit, like you could be doing like all the shit working title shot, the champ's not ready and shit passes like. Or you're not ready and you have an injury and you got to wait it out and he's finding someone else. Just too much time might pass. But yeah, man, I feel like just in closing, I'm gonna close up because I watched like I tuned in the card like probably like right at the main card. So I wasn't too much like waiting for this fight. It was one of those fight nights where you're like, oh, it's cool, Faber coming back, but like headline but Randamie and Ladd is like, at least there's a fight on this week. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of it kind of fucking feels like real like. Damn, I wish there was a fight on this week when there's not. So at least there was one that had some good fights from what I saw. Faber doing his thing with the knockout, Emmett doing his thing with the knockout. And I feel like they put like that was like a truly alpha male card. You know what I mean? It like really put alpha male kind of like really catered to their demographic and kind of was a good night for them. Like almost like a highlight, like almost like a fucking like a basketball mixtape of fucking just for alpha male and them doing their things. Touchy feely. I didn't see his fight, but I heard the story about his dad coming out of prison and shit like that, being there to watch his fight. So I think that was like real touching and stuff like that. And yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like that's about everything I got to say on it. But yeah, so pretty cool knockouts we got to see. It was good. First round, the Randamie stoppage. I understand the controversy. I agree with the controversy, but I do feel like the way Aspen Ladd was moving, like just like what I said, dude, that she was staying in this head motion range, so it was gonna happen either way. And yeah, I guess that's all I got. I'm gonna head out. And yeah, guys, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And you already know it's Mastermind MMA. All right, see you later, guys.